So welcome all. Jai Gurudev, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna. Good evening, everybody. Ian and myself, we work here in Suriname as TM teachers, and we love to initiate, spread Maharishi's knowledge, and so that everybody can live happy, healthy, in harmony. And we are always interested in more knowledge, such as Jyotish, Maharishi Jyotish, Ayurveda, Vastu, Maharishi's Gita, all Vedic literature. And we love to ask questions. So this is the reason we're doing this. Today we have Vaidya Manohar jee, and we like to introduce him properly. And it's an honor to have him once again here with us. So Vaidya Manohar jee, BAM's PhD, is a highly respected Ayurvedic expert in the Western world and India, and has taught Maharishi Ayurveda courses, including Maharishi Nadi Vigyan, self-pulse diet, and yoga in Europe, Japan, and the US. He has provided consultation over 50,000 people in his 40 years of practice in Maharishi Ayurveda. He has created and taught physicians courses in the US and worldwide, and has trained over thousands of medical doctors. More so, Dr. Manohar jee worked directly with Maharishi jee for 3 decades. He was trained by and worked with world experts such as Vaidya Maharishi, the world's leading expert in Dravya Guna, Raj Vidya Brahaspati Dev Triguna, the world's leading expert in Nadi Vigyan, and Vaidya VM Tvidevi, former Vice Chancellor of Jamnagar Ayurveda University, the world's leading expert in Ayurvedic mineral and metal preparation. He was mentored by 2 great dignitaries of Ayurveda in India, P.R. Krishna Kumar Warrior, founded Arya Vaidya Pharmacy and Premium Ayurveda Center at Coimbatore, and NPP Nambo Thierry, I hope I'm reading that properly, Sridhai Riyam, Kerala, Kota Tukulam Eye Ophthalmology Institute. Vaidya Manohar jee is an expert in Kerala Panchakarma and Maharishi consciousness-based Panchakarma. He was a clinical director of the chronic disease eradication program in the US under the guidance of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the founder of TM, the technology. He is a certified consultant and teacher of Maharishi Aromatherapy, France, a certified expert in Marma and Varma therapy from Kerala, and is trained in Ayurvedic Netra Kriyas, ophthalmology. Vaidya Palakurthi is a founding technical director of MAPI, Ayurveda Products India. He is one of the founding clinical directors of the Raj, Fairfield, Iowa. He was also the clinical director of Panchakarma programs in Lancaster, MA, and Pacific of Palisades, California. He was the clinical director for Maharishi Ayurveda Japan in Japan. He researched and formulated 100 Ayurvedic products in Italy. He introduced the Veda Herbal Program in the US. He received the Maharishi Award 6 times and Dhanvantri Award twice by Apana and Meru. He also received the Teacher Appreciation Award and Lifetime Achievement Award from Maharishi International University in 2018. Vaidya Manohar jee is the first professor to teach Maharishi Ayurveda as an integrative medical approach to medical students in Curacao and St. Martin medical colleges. Vaidya Manohar jee earned his Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery, BAMS, an integrated Indian degree in the medical field. This degree program is conferred to those students who studied modern medicine and traditional Ayurveda. His PhD dissertation was in object validation of Maharishi Nadi Vigyan and cofactors of cholesterol, insomnia, and state of mind. I really like that last part. So it is a whole bunch. So it's a really an honor to have you, Dr. Manohar. As I was telling you, that we are very humbled that you came to give us this knowledge here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting Radhaji and Tim and Radhaji.
Ian.
Anyhow, Ian?
Ian is easy. Yes, no worries.
Yeah. And also, thank you for all participants, even though it's a small number, but appreciate it. It's all, little knowledge, and try to make you to understand and see how this goes. Okay. So Radhaji asked me to speak about the mind, and it's a big thing, but at least we can go with the basics. It's one of the important concept. Now share, which one supposed to be this one? Can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you. And yes, thank you.
So again, welcome. So before starting the mind, in the hierarchy, what is very important for you to all understand, there is one component is absolute, and the second component is relative. Absolute and relative. Absolute means your own consciousness. Relative means your own physiology. Absolute and relative. So one is absolute, is unmanifest. The consciousness is unmanifest. And physiology is manifest. That is relative. Very simple. Okay. This physiology is made of 8 elements. Within these 8 elements, what are those? Number 1 is mind. Number 2, intellect. Number 3, ego. And 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth. The 5 elements: ego, intellect, and mind. 8 structures. Where these 8 structures expressed from the field of absolute, unmanifest. Anything that which is manifesting is from unmanifest. In Vedic expression, it says, Neha nanasti kinchanat. All this manifesting diversity is from the field of unmanifest. Similarly, how to understand this whole physiology? It is the product of consciousness. But in fact, the physiology is simply expression of consciousness. Consciousness appears to be like a physiology, but it is consciousness. Consciousness is physiology. So everything, whatever it is, expressed elements, those 8 prakritis, expressed is called prakriti. non-expressed is called Purusha. The Purusha is called absolute and the Prakriti is called relative. Okay? This is how to understand. This is the basic knowledge. But whatever, suppose a mango in a tree is mango tree fruit. Mango tree fruit. It is coming from mango tree. Same thing. Here, the absolute is a mango tree, but the fruit is all these different expressions. The branches, leaves, flowers, fruits are like 8 prakritis. So that's why all these 8 prakritis, 8 fields of life, 8 fields of life is from unmanifest. That's the point 1. I want everyone to think. Within these 8 fields, mind is one field. Within the 8 prakritis, mind is one prakriti. Okay? So, see now here. Mind as an entity or instrument. Atma, the self or Atma, being knower, the mind, intellect, senses, and sensory organs are called machinery of self. So all these different structures are the machinery of the self. Self is the main structure on the basis of non-structure. The self or Atma contains knowledge which comes forth is known only in conjunction with an instrument of knowing. Otherwise, it doesn't come forth. So, whatever is in the unmanifest, that content has to come out. To come out, there is an instrument. So, suppose if you want to take something from a vessel, you use a spatula to take that content from that vessel. Same thing in the absolute Atma, the content to come out need an instrument so that through that instrument, if that instrument in conjoin with the self, then content will come out. Same thing, consciousness and mind. If mind association with the consciousness, the content of the consciousness comes forth through the mind, through the senses, and through the experience. So that's why mind is like an instrument and which allows the information from the consciousness to experience the knowledge. So that's why the instrument is supposed to be very vital. If the instrument is not pure, if the instrument is not balanced, if that instrument is not clear, then problem comes. Because whatever is within within that vessel could not able to transmit through this instrument. So it is very important to maintain the knowledge, to transport the knowledge, to reflect the knowledge, that which knowledge is derives from the field of consciousness. The container supposed to be clean, pure. That's the mind. Mind supposed to be very clear and pure. The mind is pure, innocent mirror of the body, faithfully reflecting whatever is present to it. It's a pure, innocent mirror. And what is consciousness is reflecting on mind, that from the mind, it reflects to the body. If that mirror is having dirt, then what happens? The pure knowledge does not reflect through that mirror, through that mind to the body. So that's why the mind, being an instrument, being a carrier, being a channel, need to maintain purity so that consciousness, knowledge will be reflected in the mind, from mind to the body. Mind is damaged, there is no perception of knowledge. Mind should be always be pure and associated with the self. This is the most important thing. So purity of the mind is very important, essential for gaining the perfect knowledge from the field of absolute, from the field of Atma. It doesn't matter how much I am telling. If your mind is unsettled, wavering, it's not settled, it's not open to receive the knowledge, then it's difficult. You cannot understand, you cannot receive what I'm talking. So the alertness, the clarity, the purity, the is very important in the mind to receiving proper knowledge. This is called in Vedic literature Chitta Suddhi. Chitta Suddhi means purity of the mind. If anybody or any individual having that purity of knowledge, purity of the mind, Chitta Suddhi, then naturally they perceive the knowledge. Naturally perceive the knowledge. The mind connects with all cells of the body with by efferent and different routes to receive responses and produce responses. Oh, where is this? See, now talking about the location of the mind. Mind is in every cell. Even though we said it is a primordial structure of unmanifest to manifest, there are 8 structures. Within these 8 structures, mind is one structure, but also it's spread all over the body. In every molecule has its own mind. But where is this main seat of the mind? The seat of the mind in Charaka Samhita, in Samhita, Ayurveda said, Hridaya Samsritam Manaha. That means the mind is seated in the heart. Who else is seated in the heart? Chetana Sthanam Hridayam. Consciousness also seated in the heart. Panchendriya Hridaya Samsritaha. The 5 senses, the root of the senses, even the sense organs are located in the head, but their root is in the heart. Motor senses, root is in the heart. 5 senses, sensory senses, also root in the heart. Buddhi, root is in the heart. Ego, the root is in the heart. Why? Because in heart, the consciousness seated. Because we said anything that which is manifesting, that's from the field of consciousness, absolute, all these relative fields. That's why, even though it is, the mind is in every molecule of the cell. For example, there is a pain in a particular area of the body. The perception of that pain to the awareness and known through mind, and mind feels that misery, the suffering. That's why mind is everywhere. That's why it can perceive anything, whatever is happening within your own physiology or surrounding you or anything. The Supreme Self, Paramatma, is cause of Jivatma in conjunction with the mind. So the mind of the pure self, cosmic self, both are the same, similar. So Jivatma, Paramatma, conjunction of the mind. Mind is in both selves. Any questions so far?
Oh, we learning. Anybody has question, please ask. But I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So mechanism of function of mind. Mind is initiated by the Vata. In Gaharanda Samhita, it is mentioned Mano Adhishtanam Vataha. So again, according to Ayurveda, the body, fundamental principles, functioning principles, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata is one principle, primordial principle. Second principle is Pitta. Third principle is Kapha. But who regulates, who initiates, who inspires, who makes that enthusiasm in the mind, who makes all that activity in the mind? There is a subtler than the mind. Subtler than the mind, there is one principle. That principle is called Vata. The mind is called governor of the senses. Again, next level. So the master of the mind is Vata, and the governor of the senses is mind. So it governs the sensory functions with the commands of consciousness. Absolutely. When it is governing the functions of the senses in association with the consciousness, all the beneficial functions performed. If mind governs the senses without the association of the consciousness, mind gets a mistake. That is called mistake of intellect. Mind is painted, colored by the mistake of intellect. So it makes mistakes, all that mistakes. In the hierarchy level, Vata comes first. And before the Vata, consciousness, Vata, mind, and senses. And sensory objects. Sensory objects means every sense perceives one particular object in particular time. Only one. If one sense is perceiving one object, the other four senses are not necessarily focused on that object. One action by the mind with one sense, one perception. Multiple perception only causes stress. Mano ekagrata. Ekagrata means focused. Focused on one sense, on one thing. For example, you're eating food and watching video or TV, or watching TV and then speaking in the phone. So these multiple functions, mind is not designed for performing multiple functions. Mind is designed to perform one function with one sense, with one sensory object. That means mind focused eating with the perception of taste. Mind eating, perception of taste. If you are not focused and eating food with something speaking on the phone, and then you cannot perceive the taste of that food in its fullness, it makes mistakes. That's why it's very important to understand the function of the mind designed to perform one function, one time, with one sense, with one perception. Very important principle. This is the whole concept of unhealthy mind. Unhealthy mind means the mind is not in its purest nature. Why? Multiple tasks, multiple functions, using same time in all the five senses. That will bring too much stress to the mind. And mind, when it gets stressed and it loses its purity, it becomes impure. That's called vikshepa gati. Vikshepa means wavering. Nature of the mind itself is wavering. Very troubled mind, wavy mind. This is a very important concept. Next. Mind is termed as sattva or chitta. Sattva means psyche. Chitta means also psyche. Mind is defined as an entity which on contact with the self, sense organs, sensory object is responsible for the production of knowledge. Entity, it's an instrument, explained to you already. Contact with the self. If mind contacts, that means whatever knowledge is gained from through yourself and reflects on the mind. And how it is gained through the self? Because mind, the self goes through mind, senses, sensory objects, and turn back to the awareness, consciousness. And again, consciousness reflect that information on the mind so that you are aware of that this is apple, this is grapes, this is mango, this is so-and-so person, known through the mind. The two qualities of mind, subtleness and oneness. Mind is very subtle, minute. Subtle means minute. Oneness, there is only one mind. There is no two minds. Only one, oneness. Mind is also called dual sense. Why it is called dual sense? It is as much as a sensory organ, that much also motor organ. What are the sensory organs? Perception of hearing is ear, skin, touch. Ear is hearing, skin is touch. Eyes are sight. Water is the taste, that is tongue. Tongue is the taste. And smell is the nose. So, through these five sensory organs, ear, skin, eye, tongue, and nose. Through ear, sound, through skin, touch, perception, through eyes, sight, through water, through tongue, taste, and through nose, smell. That's a Prithvi, earth. Again, all this sensory object related to the five elements. That's a extension of knowledge. But what is here? It is a dual organ. It's the mind without initiation of the mind. What are these are the five sensory organs. Ear, skin, eye, tongue, and nose. What are the motor organs? Motor organs are five. The motor organs are Pani, Pada, Vak, Payu, Upastha. That means hands, legs, walk, speech, reproductive organs, excretory organs. These are all 5. Together is motor organs. Sensory organs initiated by the mind, motor organs initiated by the mind, when mind is associated with the field of consciousness. When it is deviated from that field of consciousness, still it initiates the sensory organ and motor organs in a wrongful way, not beneficial to life. When it is associated with the consciousness, the mind helps as a dual organ and bring beneficial things to the life. That's why the role of mind is very important, because it's an instrument. Even though you have content, if you can't take it, that content, for the beneficial use, and waste of that content, even though you have knowledge, but mind is not clear. Think about a top class professor got some psychological issue. And how can we use his knowledge? You cannot. Even though his brain filled with knowledge, but somehow he got caught up with the mental issue. That's why the health of the mind only possible with association of consciousness. This is very important. If anybody mind is not thinking beneficially, anybody mind is not thinking pure thinking, if anybody mind is not flexible, if anybody mind is not silent all the time, wavy, very wavy, what is that? That's a sign of imbalance. Why this imbalance? Because it is deviated from the self. Very important concept. And the next, mind is a bridge between the self and the body. So it is like a, without that bridge, the consciousness cannot reach to the bodily expression. So mind has to be there. And we talked about 8 prakritis. It is one of the prakriti. And even though we said it is a channel, but where is this channel? How to understand this channel? This channel is imaginatory channel. Imaginatory channel. So that's why it is very important. And it has gunas and it has functions. Mind has gunas and functions. This I will skip. Importance of the mind. Manajita, Jagjita. Win the mind, win the world. Win the mind means if mind is associated with the consciousness, you won the mind. That's it. Very simple. There is no competition for the mind. Just allow the mind to engage in the field of consciousness. Then you are winning the mind. What does that mean? When mind is in association with the consciousness, and whatever you ask the mind, the tasks, a mind will listen to you and perform for you. If mind comes out of that consciousness field, then whatever mind says, you have to do it. If mind in association with the consciousness, you are the winner. Why? Because you are the commander of the mind. If mind comes out of the consciousness, mind becomes commander and you are the serving to the mind rather than mind is serving to you. Very important principle. If anybody's life is successful, and why he is successful? He has command over the mind. If anybody is not successful in his life, why he is not successful? Because he becomes servant of the mind. Whatever mind is asking, he is doing. That mind is independently commanding you to perform certain activities. that is not necessarily beneficial. So how to gain the command over the mind? Take the mind to the field of consciousness. This is the process of transcendental meditation. When you are meditating, that mind surface layer, the waves, from the surface fields to the more internal, it becomes so subtle, and it doesn't even relatively existence, it become more transcendental. That's called transcendental mind. If one who is gained success over the mind, means taking that mind into the transcendental field. And how to take this mind into the transcendental field? What is that vehicle? That vehicle is the meditation. That meditation which helps the mind to carry to the field of absolute, from the relative field to the absolute. This is called Manohar Vijayam, victory over the mind. Manohar Vijayam means victory over the mind. That's why here it says, Manajita Jagajita. That means the victory over the mind. The mind gains invincible, Ajay. No one can defeat that mind. That state of mind, if you make that mind to become invincible, to become victorious in its place, based on its place, and you become victorious because you have the command over the mind. Okay? Mind and freedom. Very important concept. Now, I'm talking. Mana eva manushyanam bandha vimochanam. That's it. The freedom or bondage. Vimochana means freedom. Bandha means bondage. The freedom or bondage for any individual life based on the state of mind. If mind gains its freedom of life, if mind caught up with the relative field, then bondage. Obstacle for the higher states of consciousness, gaining perfection in life. If mind gets bondage, means dwelling into the relative fields, then the whole purpose of life is spoiled. The purpose of life is how to experience the higher states of consciousness so that we don't need to come back. It all depends on the freedom of the mind. That freedom of mind is the source of freedom of life. Freedom of the mind is the source of freedom of life. The freedom of the mind is gained only with the association of the consciousness. How to take this mind to the absolute field, that freedom, how to bring that freedom to that mind. Saloka, Samipya, Sarupya, Sayujya, Saloka, in that vicinity of absolute, vicinity of consciousness. As soon as you enter into that field of, close to that field of consciousness, and then Samipya, that means you become very close to the field of consciousness. And then similarly, not similarly, and then next step, the mind sees consciousness in the consciousness radiance, and the mind sees, I am also consciousness. In reality, it is also consciousness because it's a product of consciousness. So when it comes close, very close, intimately close, then mind sees that sarupya. Sarupya means similar nature. I am also consciousness. And sayujya. Then it will merge into the field of consciousness. As soon as it sees, it identifies, I am the consciousness. Then why not I stay within the consciousness and then gets enter into the field of consciousness. This is the process you practicing in TM. I'm not a TM teacher, but the Ian and Radhaji can explain to you more. But according to the Vedic literature, this Saloka Samipya Sarupa Sayujya Sthiti, how to gain that Sayujya, merging into the field of absolute through the TM. TM takes the mind into transcendental mind, so that mind gains its freedom, so that the freedom of life, so that the purpose of life fulfilled. The purpose of life is how to gain enlightenment, how to know the nature of Brahman, so that will not come back. Now, definition of mind according to the Vedic literature. Manyate avabudhyate jyayate iti manaha. Manyate, to think, to imagine. Avabudhyate, to justify. Jyayate, to obtain the knowledge or to capable to receive the knowledge from the field of consciousness. Iti, that, manaha, mind. To think, to imagine, to justify, to gaining the knowledge, capable to gain the knowledge, receive the knowledge. That is called mind. Mind and enlightenment. Manokshayam moksham. What does that mean? Manokshayam, amana. Unmana, amana. There are the two Vedic terms used in Vedic literature. Unmana, perplexed mind. Mind when it is in the relative field, engaged with all the objects. One car, then mind thinks two cars. One house, mind thinks two houses. One item of food, mind thinks 10 items of the foods. Anything. Deshataha, kalataha, vastutaha. Deshataha depends on place. Kalataha depends on time. Vastutaha depends on the material. The mind changes. So there is no path to higher states of consciousness because you are in the field of anitya, non-eternal, non-eternal. But when mind, amana, there is no state of mind. That is also one state of mind. No state of mind is also a state of mind. What is that state of mind? That which has no state of mind is called amana. That is transcendental mind. The mind is placed in the absolute. As soon as the mind in the state of absolute, then transcendental mind, who is the source of enlightenment, source of higher cognition, source of higher levels of consciousness, source of gaining the knowledge of Brahman, knowing I am the Brahman. All these things smell. happen to the individual. So evolution of the mind, according to Ayurveda, in the structure of the emergence of the embryo, how this mind is entered. 6 factors formation of the embryo, Shadbhavas. Matruja Bhava, mother, Pitruja Bhava, father, Chetana, consciousness, Manas, mind, and Satmyaja Bhava, that means suitability, Rasaja Bhava means nutrition. The 6 elements, 6 factors, when they are coming together, then embryo takes place. Within that, mind is also very important concept mentioned by the Samhita. Mind comes into the embryo because return of the life is because of mind, because of not having the transcendental mind. The transcendental mind is nishkama. Nishkama means no desires. The relative mind has all the desires. Having all the desires, then you have to come back. Why? Because the mind is fully engaged in the relative field, having all the desires, and lack of that fulfillment of the desires, one has to come back. That's why when he is coming back, he is coming with that unfulfilled desires of the mind, then he enters into an embryo of whatever the mother he choose. It could be human being, it could be animal, it could be virus, it could be bacteria, it could be small animal, anything, he can enter there. So that's why it is very important having the transcendental mind will transcends all desires, experience of the contentment, and no need to come back. So the 4 levels of manifestation of mind explained again. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikari. Para. This totally unmanifest and transcendental. That para level, transcendental mind. Extraordinary value, that transcendental mind. Pashyanti. This is finest level of intellect. Mind association with the intellect. Also very important. At that pure intellect. And Madhyama, this is the thinking level of the mind, that thinking level, again, sensory level. Vaikari, the level of speech, and the corresponding to most manifest level. Vaikari is like a surface level. Your mind, whatever it thinks, and it speaks. So that speaking level is Vaikari, level of speech. The thinking level, the mental thinking, at the level of senses, sensory object, and all those things, is the thinking level. The intellectual level of mind is Pashyanti. Absolute level of the mind is transcendental. The mind manifestation, Madhyama level, middle. It is a bridge between unmanifest, finer to manifest. Action or non-action of the mind based on the association of these states. Very important. Action, non-action. Non-action on the basis of absolute transcendental mind, still it acts, but from the state of purity. In the Kriya Yoga, yoga and mind, tapaha, swadhyaya, Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. That's a kind of yoga. Tapaha means meditation. Swadhyaya, study of the self. Ishvara, experience, knowledge of that experience of being. Pranidhani, surrendering. Kriya Yoga, the yoga, the practice of that yoga. Practice of yoga, that which enables the samadhi, that Ishvara, that is the source of study of the self. That is the technique of meditation to be understood. Kriya Yoga. Through meditation, experience of the absolute, transcendental meditation, experience of the absolute, samadhi, that is the source of self, the knowledge of the self to be known. Mind and food, very important. Essence of food is this physiology. Very important. Taittiriya Upanishad says, Annamanna, Annamadhya prasidhyate. Annamannamadhya prasidhyate. That means food depends on food. What is this concept? After eating some food, what it happen? It happens to you. It appears to be Mr. A has an apple, and apple become A. A has grapes. Grapes become A. Grapes are not going to be grapes in the body. It transforms into A. Anything, whatever we are eating, that becomes into our form. What does that mean? Essence of the food is the physiology. The essence of the physiology, again, is the food. The food becomes physiology. The physiology is sustained by the food. This is how to understand. The food becomes physiology. Again, that physiology is sustained by the food. Here, the relationship between the food and the mind, greatly explained, but one sentence I'm telling. Jaisa kave an, vaisa bane man. The food, the mind, depends on the mind, state of mind, based on what you have received that food. So the food influence your mind, influence your intellect, influence your own body in different ways. But definitely it influences your mind. That's why it is very important eating organic food, natural food, homegrown food, without any fertilizers, naturally grown food, fresh food, cooked food, easy digesting food, using spices properly according to the body type, season, age to be considered, all these things to be applied. This is again Maharishi explained. Mental life, innovation, creativity, orderliness. Orderliness, creativity, inventiveness with the synchrony of mind and body. Orderliness, creativity, inventiveness with the synchrony of the mind and body. If mind and body integrated, then three concepts: orderliness, creativity, inventiveness. Without orderliness, there is no creativity. Without creativity, inventiveness, orderliness is not beneficial. Orderliness without creativity and inventiveness, no use. So that's why it is very important that orderliness, creativity, inventiveness with the synchrony of the mind and body. This synchrony is gained through state of being, that integrity naturally experienced by the individual mind body, that yoga, unifying the mind with the body, which brings that yoga, that creates that orderliness, creativity, and inventiveness. Five functions of mind. There are five types of mind, always, eternally performed in the mind. If mind is in the relative field, if mind is transcendental field, and these five functions in its subtlety, even you don't know whether they are existing or not. But still, mind works more beneficial way than the mind when it is in the relative world. What are those five functions? Pramana, Vikalpa, Viparya, Nidra, Smriti. Pramana, valid knowledge. Vikalpa, incorrectly knowing, mistake of intellect. Viparya, imagination. Nidra means sleep, memory. The yogi learned, Yoga Sutras says, the yogi learned to witness these five kinds of thoughts with non-attachment. So, non-attachment, very important. Discriminate between these five and to cultivate the first type of thought, which is knowing correctly. Pramana. Pramati iti pramanaha. Pramana means validity. This is Yoga Sutra explains. Even though it is dwelling in the five actions all the time, eternally, without stopping. But the yogi, one who is state of being, can only perform the activity of pramana, valid knowledge. Pancha klesha of the mind. Klesha means affliction. Klesha means misery. Klesha means difficulty, suffering. The five afflictions of mind. Avidya, ignorance. Veda ananukulata. Ananukulata means not in accordance with Veda. The ignorance. Ignorance means lack of knowledge. Simple. Ignorance means absence of knowledge. Asmita, ego, associated with a small I. That ego or two. Aham Brahmasmi, I am the totality. Or Aham, I am the apple or the grape. Or A, I am the bee. I am this much height, this much weight. This is my complexion. This is my degree. All these things, small ego. Asmita means the small ego which identifies with the small self. Raga, attraction or drawing to addictions, attachment. Dvesha, aversion or pushing away, and hatred. Aversion and attachment. What is the Maya within these two principles? Whatever you are attached can become aversion. And whatever is your aversion can become attachment. So it's a changing concepts. Anything that which is changing is called anitya or maya, illusion. Next, abhinivesha. Abhinivesha means clinging to life. That clinging to life is resistance to loss, fear of death or identity, desire for continuity. So, abhinivesha is a lack of freedom. Clinging to life is a lack of freedom. If anything, you are clinging, not only life, anything clinging to your money, clinging to your name and fame and job, chair, then no freedom, including life. Should be ready to go anytime. What is the fear about it? So these are the 5 afflictions of the mind. Mind, balanced use of senses with the strength, manobala or mano nigraha. Nigraha means self-awareness, only infuse in the mind, the control. Nigraha means balanced use of the mind. Mind is drawn to the senses and sensory objects due to mind deviated from Atma, mano nirbhalata, weak mind. Explained in the Gita. Functions of the mind, very important. Sankalpa, resolve, determination, strength of mind, willpower. Vikalpa, doubt, uncertainty, indecision, hostility, hesitancy. Sankalpa, vikalpa, murcha, modulation, in tone, fainting, swoon. Jadata, lack of knowledge, justification, stupor, insensibility. Manana means understanding. Manana, understanding, fancy expression, thought. Vicharyam, analyzing. Chintyam, perception. Uhyam, imagination. Indriya nigraham, balanced use of senses. These are all functions of the mind. Mind is performing all this activity for individual. 3 gunas of mind. 3 means 3. Guna means qualities. Triguna means determine people's nature, belief, and then perception. Sattva is the purest nature of mind. Rajas is impure quality. Tamas is impure qualities, also mind. So that means mind has 3 qualities, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And Sattva is the purest qualities of mind. And Rajas is impure quality, Tamas is impure quality of the mind. So out of 3, 2 are impure, 1 is Sattva. But Sattva also detrimental to experience the absolute. One has to go beyond these 3 gunas. Nistraya gunya bhava. Be without these 3 gunas. So then you can experience the field of absolute. Is it enough?
It's beautiful. I think I'm happy with that. So we have questions.
Yeah.
Do you have any more to explain, Dr. Manohar?
Yeah, just you try to understand the nature of mind. I repeatedly, number of times I explained to you, don't leave the mind alone to dwell into the relative field. Take the mind into the absolute field and you will see the wonders of the mind, how it is beneficial to you, how it will listen to you, and how to use the mind for beneficial way for the betterment of life. This is what is important today's very small talk for you. Not going too many details, but I explained to you the nature of mind and its qualities and its imbalances in its functions and its nature and its structure, where it is located, how it is located. Everything is explained to you. And then also the technique taking the mind to the field of consciousness by the practice of transcendental meditation. The founder is His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And given this great technique
Thank you
and
so
blessing to the people.
Thank you so much. I really like how you put it together with the three gunas that made it so clear that the mind needs that we have to go beyond that. And as TM teachers, I see a lot of them are here, so we understand that point so well. So I love how you connected that. So are there any questions? So we can, Ian, do you have a question? I see you're on mute.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Manohar. That was very interesting. I was thinking while you were talking about what Maharishi says about mind. It's a very simple concept, but the more you think about it, the more profound it is that whatever you place your attention on grows stronger in life. And these days, you know, people place their attention on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. You know, it is very, very superficial, but they get lost and they become, because the mind is like a sponge, right? It becomes those things. They become a neurotic because of that. That has been researched, that they become very neurotic because they see an ideal version of a man or a woman, and they get brainwashed into believing that's the only thing that exists. So the mind gets confused and sick because of these kind of attentions. Wherever they place their attention on grows strong in life. So you can place your attention on spirituality, on good things, on evolutionary forces, and those things will be helpful for the mind, like you said. Okay. So I was wondering if you can comment on that. Hi, Carl. How are you doing?
Yeah. Attention naturally grows.
Hello, Ryan.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Naturally, the attention goes to the beneficial objects of life by the awareness of the pure consciousness. You don't need to bring specially your attention. If you are in the state of being, the awareness knows the attention where to take, and then where to dwell and where to bring the benefits to life. That's all. Always think about, otherwise if we say wherever you put your attention, you don't put your attention. Your awareness takes your attention to that particular areas of the life. That's why what is essential for the individual is state of being. Even though we say put your awareness means take your awareness, put your attention means your awareness takes that attention to that particular area of the life. That's very important for you to understand. Otherwise, the mind influence, mind takes its attention to the particular area. It's not transcendental mind takes its attention to the particular area. Naturally, that area will be, the growth of that area takes place where your attention takes. Transcendental mind attention takes place. Okay.
Thank you. If there's any other questions of other people, Carl, maybe you have a question or a comment.
Okay. So, Pandit Manohar jee,
Yes.
good to see you.
How are you, sir?
Good. I was sitting here and then all in a sudden I saw the link of this conference. So I just connected and saw it is very interesting, something that I am actually also busy with. Let me change my proper background. It is the good one. Yes. And while you were explaining all this, it reminded me of what MIU and Maharishi has developed with Skip Alexander in the past. They used to call it the Vedic psychology, the hierarchical mind, and giving them the different levels of the mind.
Correct.
And in some publications that I did later, I connected that actually to where it is also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, those levels of the mind.
Correct.
But then you got to a sheet where you had the levels of the mind, and you said, "Oh, that we're not going to touch today."
Yeah, it's a little bit abstract psychology. People can a little difficult to fathom to that. That's why I skipped that slide. The levels of the mind. That's a
But
skip.
I would love to discuss with you about it, about your presentation, and so that it can be included in my further study of how the
Definitely.
mind
Sometime we
works.
can discuss that. Yes.
Yes. I will mail you anyway. I don't know whether the WhatsApp that I have, because I have an Indian number, a number of India from you that you gave January. If it's still working, it still functions.
We can give it to you.
Okay.
We can give it to you later, Carl. Yes.
Okay, very good.
Wonderful.
So congratulations, very profound. And it was very, very enjoying to hear this profound knowledge explained with so much confidence that you know what you're talking about. Congratulations.
You're beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you,
who is the
Carl.
next question? Thank you so much, Carl. Thank you. So who is the next person that wants to ask a question? And it's Dr. Manohar jee, I have a couple questions. In the meantime, others can think about their questions. So how much has karmic baggage to do with, so if people are born, some people are born with so much karmic baggage that they cannot think pure, So what do we do as professionals in Ayurveda and yoga, Maharishi's yoga, and all that? So of course, meditation is one of them. And of course, family members have to bring, lovingly the person to these technologies. But in a simple sense, what would you recommend? If someone doesn't get healed by lifestyle, of course, lifestyle. Yeah, lifestyle has to be there. So what do you suggest?
Generally, that's why, in multimodality approach, for the total health, the karma approach to be dealt with astrology. So based on your birth time, as I mentioned, the birth itself is a combination of mother, father, consciousness, mind, suitability, and also nutrition, all together. As I mentioned, if you are born, the birth is ignorance. Why it is ignorance? Because you are not gained that contentment and fulfillment and state of enlightenment. That's why you have to born again. How this lack of that contentment, fulfillment, and absence of enlightenment only experienced in the level of mind. Mind knows it is not happy and it's not completed its its experience in any of the relative fields or absolute field. So that is that unhappiness because of lack of contentment creates the next birth. See, this is that is why. That's because of ignorance, ajnana. And that ajnana is because of lacking the jnana, lacking the knowledge. That's why Adi Shankara says, Rute jnana anna mukti. So the freedom only gaining through total knowledge.
So it's
Otherwise, you have to come
yeah,
back.
no. So it's very important that, so basically Maharishi Ayurveda is closely connected to Jyotish as well, Vedic astrology. And it's very important to have all this knowledge, all these varieties of knowledge, all that Maharishi gave us to know. So the family members must deal with these things lovingly, of course. So
Yeah, everyone taken birth. That means definitely this is in the ancient system. As soon as the baby born, and immediately when the baby makes the first cry, and then immediately they write the time, and then all those things, details, day, time, minutes, and everything. So that based on that, what is this mind of this baby, and what is not fulfilled, or what is still need to fulfill, or why he came, and what is the degree of ignorance within the chart to be known, so that remedial measures are there. As Maharishi always says, human life is extraordinary gift from the nature to any individual. Manushyatvam, mumukshatvam, Mahapurusha Anusandhanam. This Manushyatvam, this the life of human nature, human life, given by the nature only to gaining the enlightenment. The whole purpose is to gain enlightenment, not with raga dveshas. Not raga dveshas means not likes and dislikes. Because that like and dislike are the weapons of Maya, the illusion. It creates all that illusion. As I said, they're always changing. What you like, and within short time, it will become dislike. What you dislike, within short time, it will become like. These are the waves of life, waves of life. These are the waves of the mind. And then these waves of mind, it will go very high and it will have to fall again. It can completely merge into that ocean of consciousness. Again, it can rise. Rise and fall is the nature of likes and dislikes. Those likes and dislikes will accumulate the ignorance in the field of life. That is the source of rebirth. So, how to come out of these likes and dislikes, how to transcend from that likes and dislike, is only in the state of being, that Sayujjastiti. Merging into the field of absolute is the nature of being, source of jnana, knowledge. And when one is awakened to that pure knowledge, everything is one Brahman. And within that state of Brahman, there is no likes and dislikes.
so we have to go through that Brahmichetna, what you mean to say.
That's the purpose of life. The purpose of life, Rute Jnanana Mukti.
Beautiful.
Gaining the total knowledge. So then Mukti, the freedom to this life, not to come back. That is Shankara Bhajagovindam explained. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam, iha samsare bahudushkare pahi murari krupaya pare. This is how the Shankara even explained. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. You taking birth and losing life. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, losing life. Punarapi janani, again selecting another mother. Jatare sayanam, and sleeping in her womb 9 months, 10 months.
Beautiful.
And then iha samsare, in this whole universe, bahudushkare, living, coming to this relative field, very difficult. Krupaya pare, pahi murare. Please kindly take me and into your awareness, that awareness of absolute. This is, even Adi Shankara has asked
This is
the absolute.
This is
Beautiful.
beautiful,
Thank you, Dr.
Manohar.
Manohar.
I think this part is beautifully connected with Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm really kind of a addiction to that book. I really love that. So when you said that, I will have to think of that. But of course, Maharishi gave us a beautiful technology. And I think you're trying to say that it's best to come back to the self every time, twice a day. And
That's the only one thing.
that's the main thing. I have 3 other questions, but I think Dr. Lucia wants to ask a couple of questions. So I'm gonna tell her to, yes, Lucia.
Jai Gurudev, Dr. Manohar jee.
Take a
I have a question about Vata imbalance, according to Ayurveda, especially Prana Vata. How do we deal with Prana Vata, especially when it's already affecting the senses? Thank you.
Pranavata is, if it is, Pranavata is very important because Pancha Pranas. Prana means the first impulse of the consciousness. So within that 5 impulses, Prana, Udana, Samana, Apana, Vyana. These are the 5 prana, 5 Pancha Pranas. Within this prana, Pranavata is very important, nourishing all the senses and nourishing the whole head. And also, Uchvasa and Nisvasa, inhalation and exhalation, because of prana. And all these functions performed by the Pranavata. And the Pranavata is in balanced state. It is very beneficial to the mind. In its imbalanced state, the mind gets agitation, anxiety, nervousness, tension, worry, grief, and different mental afflictions. And why it gets? If Vata is imbalanced, and then naturally, if hand is imbalanced, all the 5 fingers feel that trouble. But more or less, one finger may be more, another finger depends on which nerve is involved. Same way, the causative factors for Pranavata disturbance is 3 main causative factors. Number 1 is excessive use of senses. Number 2, faulty use of senses. Number 3, very little use of, underuse of senses. Too much use, underuse, faulty use of the senses. These are the 3 main causative factors. The senses will dwell into the mistake of intellect, pragyapara, mistake of intellect. That was the source of imbalance of the pranavata. That pranavata naturally afflicts all the senses, because we said indriyadhishtanam manaha. This, all the senses depends on the mind, and naturally mind gets very much disturbed. And the disturbance in the mind can be multiple ways. That's why it is very important how to use proper balanced use of senses. Indriya nigraham, one of the dharmas, Pancha Mahadharmas, Indriya nigraham. Indriya nigraham means balanced use of senses. If senses are in association with asatmendriya ardha samyogam, unwholesome contact with non-beneficial things, then trouble with the pranavata. But how the senses become independent and become non-beneficial to the life is because the mind deviates from the self, and then mind loses its control or its balanced use or balanced administration of senses, so that senses become rebels, and then they will perform all their duties and perceiving all non-beneficial values to the mind body. That's how to understand.
I don't know if Lucia has any more questions, but I had a question on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
All right, you had excessive use, faulty use, and underuse of the senses. Could you give some practical examples of how exactly we can
Excuse
misuse these
about,
senses and make ourselves sick?
hearing. And if you're exposed to the very loud, like noises, and also, there are some musical bands and, very high pitch sounds or anything, that's excess use. Or using earphones the whole day, hours together, that is also excess use. A faulty use, that is faulty use. So, and putting all the earplugs and not hearing anything, and just trying to avoid not hearing anything is underuse. So like that. Because there is some trouble, because some people, they don't tolerate the sound. That's why they don't use that ear. But they need to treat what is the cause, why they are not tolerating the sound, rather than keeping plugs and then not using the ears. So like that. Same thing, taste. Eating too much is excess use. The tongue using too much. And then too little eating, underuse. Eating all the fast foods and then non-beneficial and preservatives and all these things in the food is faulty using. Same thing with the vision. Seeing that which is not beneficial, faulty use. And seeing in too much lights, very, 1000 candle bulbs and all those studios and all those things, vision will get definitely problem. And then
basically, you're saying overstimulation of 5 senses?
Yeah, overstimulation is excess use. Underuse is not at all using, very little bit using. Faulty using is for, as I said, different faulty way to use the senses.
But
1 second. Emerald, thank you so much, Dr. Manohar. Ian, you had continuing.
No, let Emerald ask the question.
Okay, Emerald, you
Yeah.
have them.
yes, I want to continue on this
Please.
faulty use of the senses, because
Turn off.
Mr. Manohar jee, you were only focusing on quantitative examples of faulty use, but a qualitative one can be listening to gossip,
Also, correct.
yeah,
Quantity, quality.
speaking ill about others. That's also faulty use of senses.
Correct. Understood. Very good. Yeah, quantitative, qualitative using senses. Underuse, overuse, or misuse, always prohibited.
Yeah, thank you, Emerald. That brings me back to the point. I was thinking about this attention wherever, because your mind is a sponge, and wherever you put your attention on, that grows stronger, and you put your attention through the 5 senses on things. And sometimes the mind can be the master of the 5 senses, but when you overuse it and overstimulate it, it can be the slave of the 5 senses. You can get, and a lot of people are addicted to social media, addicted is not healthy, right? Addicted to too much music, or too much food, or too much social media, too much what they see and what they hear, and all of this thing creates so much noise that your unbounded self is lost, and that causes disease, right?
Correct. But wherever the mind puts its attention, and then the growth of that object will be there. But what I'm saying, that happens either bad or good. The good way is, if in the state of being, attention naturally draws to the beneficial areas. And when a deviation from the self, the attention of mind draws only non-beneficial areas. This is the difference between the attention. Attention from the state of being and attention from the state of deviation of self. When the mind deviated from the self, that attention goes only non-beneficial areas, and there naturally the growth of attention will be there, the growth of object will be there, and that is non-beneficial to life. So when in the state of being, you don't need to even think where to take your attention. Mind, no need to think about where to go and where to put my attention. It's all the field of absolute. It knows that awareness, fully awakened self-referral state knows what is to be done and where it's supposed to go and where that attention need to be given. So it's all self-referral, and there is no manipulation. Manipulation is mind influence. It's a self-influence. It is a self-referral influence. And when mind deviates and the manipulation comes, that mind influence by its own way of functioning, so that mind takes the attention to this particular area. That's non-beneficial attention. That's what I'm saying, the difference.
Thank you, Dr. Manohar jee.
Thank you so much. So I have 3 questions. And that is, Dr. Manohar, how do you heal, or what do you suggest to people that are depressed? And I mean light depressed. I'm not going to go in deep depression. Light depression. People who have grief from someone's death, sadness, just normal sadness, broken heart, anger. These are emotions that cripples other people around you, but they don't know that, but it cripples other people. It's not, so yeah, what do you suggest on that?
Suffering of mind is only in the relative nature of the life. The suffering of mind only in the relative nature of life. And what is the relative nature of life is always changing. Changing means you are living or you are dying, or the rain is coming or rain is going, or all these changes within the relative nature. You are happy and you are unhappy. And a year ago you are very happy, all of a sudden you become unhappy. And a year ago you are very much normal, and all of a sudden you become very nervous and anxiety, losing some. When your parent is there, you are very much happy, and losing your dear people, and then you will have that grief. So what is important, this is, even though it appears to be real, it appears to be natural, but in the field of light, the light of knowledge, Atmajnanam Paranjyoti, Atmajnanam, knowledge of self, is absolute light. In that field of light, you cannot see any darkness. And all this suffering is like a darkness. And that is what is the ability of individual to grow in consciousness and radiate themselves as a light, to see ability of light in every incidence of life. Then all these experiences will be no effect, or even if it affect, it's very, what you say, not permanent, in a kshanika, momentarily it affects, and immediately the knowledge will radiate that light, and then that darkness will disappear. This is what is important for any individual in their life. Suffering is natural, and but with the light of light, that conscious light will dispel that ignorance or that suffering or that darkness. And how to do that? And everything, meditation, eating good food, Satsangatyam, in association with the good people, reading scriptures, following, devotion to the teachers, all these different aspects of life, and taking rasayanas to the mind, serving the teachers, and all these things. By following these things, naturally makes that mind to experience that field of consciousness, and then suffering will not be
Beautiful.
long time.
Thank you so much. So being self-referral is one of the key, is a key component to be happy.
Yeah,
Because
everything is self-referral, but what I'm saying, that experience will overtake you of the self and then see only the object. But while experiencing that object, but they lose that knowledge. Okay, my father is there 10 years. How much I am happy? Why I'm happy, unhappy, changing. When he is there, also unhappy. When he is, when we lose him, also unhappy. If it is unhappy to you now, when that object is existing, why you are not happy? There are many times you are also unhappy with that object. I'm not saying about father or any object. When the object is there, and you are sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy. If object is not there, you are becoming so unhappy. What is that? What is real? Is this real? Is that real? Once Raja Janak wake up from the dream. And then in the dream, he get a dream, he lost all the kingdom. And then he wake up and he sees all the kingdom and all the people around him. And then he asked the people, is that real? And this is real. What is real? He asked the people. No one will answer. And then Ashtavakra, I think someone answered to him. The both are real in the field of absolute. In the field of absolute, both are real. The waking state is real and the dreaming state is real. Even sleeping state is also real. But aware of these three states by pure awareness. So the same way, losing is real, not losing also real. Who is aware of losing? Your own consciousness. Who is aware of not lost, not losing, is also your own awareness. If that is true, and this is true, and beyond this too, the awareness is more true. So the pure consciousness is aware of everything.
Yeah.
There is in Yoga Vasishtha, there is a story. Two brothers complete their father's last rites and then come back. And then one brother sitting on a bench and then crying so much with a loud noise, crying. And second brother is simply sitting and watching him. And the first brother is gets angry on second brother, and he asks, don't you have any sense of respect or gratitude to our father? He took care of us, and then you are not even crying and just seeing me to cry. And then the second brother tells him, our father's father also no more, and his father also no more, and his great grandfather also no more.
Mhm.
Why you are only crying for your father? Why you are not crying for all these people? To cry all these people, how many years to take? Even are you going to continue crying forever? You are going to cry only whatever the energy you have, and afterwards you stop, and then immediately you become normal. If anyone we losing, yes, you get affected, and in few months you become normal. If it is real, you get affected. Why you become normal? Losing your partner, one feels the same.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Manohar. But I think in this life, we sometimes we ask ourselves why we have this life, right? So then that's anyway. So we want to experience bliss, basically, and that's why we
Only
need
that.
Ayurveda.
See what I'm saying. Don't resist for anything.
Right.
Let it come. You can't stop darkness. That is what I'm saying. The darkness always try to come to you, but keep a candlelight in your hand. Some darkness will not overtake on you. That's what is the answer, real answer.
Thank you so much for that. So, how does Ayurveda help people to like the treatments when people take treatments? Why does those treatments help people for in taking stresses out, besides meditation, besides transcending, besides yoga postures and Surya Namaskar?
Everything is directed to the self. See, as I said, the consciousness appears as a physiology. So the physiology is supposed to be in the state of being. It's the lack of that state of being which is the source of misery, and how to restore that state of being, and how to recreate the connection between body and its inner intelligence is the purpose of all approaches, including panchakarma, including herbs, including aromas, including anything, meditation. All these are therapeutic approaches. All these therapeutic approaches will enliven the body and to engage with the inner intelligence. That inner intelligence is the nature of consciousness. Enliven the body to engage with inner intelligence so that suffering will not exist.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have one last question. And for me, how does food, why is it so that food is connected to our mind? Why is it needed to have pure food? I know we have to eat pure food, but my question is, why do you need to have pure food so that the mind is gets influenced by that?
As I said, the food is essence of the body. After eating everything, it becomes your mind, it becomes your intellect. Suppose if you are eating heavy food, how is your mind feels heavy? If you are eating light food, how your mind feels light? If you are eating very spicy food, how your mind feels sharp? So everything influences everything. This is the theory of relativity. And so action and reaction. So that's why the essence of food is the physiology, and the physiology is sustained by the food again. So that's why whatever food we are eating on the basis of three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamo gunas. Suppose the foods which are leftovers creates the tamas, means hiding, covering of our mind. The foods that are rajas is very sharp and then creating heat and inflammation in our mind. The foods which are pure, organic, fresh, cooked at home creates the sattva. Sattva means that which is the pure side. So like that, every food has the quality. That quality is inbuilt in the quality of the mind. So if that quality, this quality is going to be, combined, then that influence will be also there.
And thank you so much. And why is it, because food is connected to the gut? How is the gut connected to the mind? Why is that important to?
Everything is connected to the mind. This is medical doctors are trying to make some money of saying about gut and probiotics and prebiotics and all these things. But according to Ayurveda, the gut is the most important concept in the gut is Agni. Agni is the most important principle. Agni and then mind and then consciousness, all are one field. They are not different fields. So the mental imbalance can influence the Agni, and Agni imbalance can creates the physiology to deviate from the self. So that is how to understand it. This is very, relative knowledge of speaking about gut is the, yes, we understand gut is the second brain. How it is second brain? Because the gut is the fire, digestive fire. The digestive fire is light of light. It is the consciousness. It is the source of total transformation. So that's our concept. Even though we agree and, their concepts, it's not disagreeing, but I don't need to be
Yeah,
thinking
they
that
saying
concept.
they saying it differently. Ayurveda says we have to create a better fire that
I
digest.
have right to say anything right to say, but we don't deviate from our path. Our path is consciousness, mind, and physiology. The interconnection by the digestive fire. The digestive fire is the most important abstract principle of physiology. And that is a source of all health, not the some little bacteria here and there are, creating that fear. Okay, the microbiomes are 1:9. It is overpowering all the body, and then telling in the microscope and all this because of this microbiomes and these diseases are. It's all Maya illusion. No, we don't come out of our concept. The Vedic concept is consciousness, mind, and digestive fire.
Beautiful. I love simple thinking. So basically, we this is what you made my thinking even clear, Dr. Manohar. So that basically life is beautiful when, I mean, it's always beautiful that our goal is to have that unity with the Creator, which we have the yoga, the technology of transcending, and we can use Ayurveda to even make it even easy, keep the body healthy and the mind healthy, so this is beautiful. I really like how you explained everything beautifully with all the connections. So any other questions, people?
I just wanted to ask one thing is the concept of pragyaparat, that what's the original pragyaparat in according to Maharishi Ayurveda? What is the first pragyaparat? The mistake of the intellect. What's the first mistake of the intellect that causes all diseases?
Yes, that's one of the main cause. The main cause of suffering is the mistake of intellect. Within that, three faculties, intellect and restraint and memory. These are the three faculties. These three faculties gets disturbed and then appears to be a mistake of intellect. Like second one is unwholesome contact with the senses. Third one is faulty use of time. Faulty use of time means in summer eating winter foods and winter eating summer foods, and behavior. Summer supposed to behave, but behavior is completely winter behavior, like that, faulty use. And in the old days doing engage activity and engage doing old days activity. So like that, wrong usage of time. These are the three main causative factors for all the, but when self comes to know itself, and when self comes into difficulty to know itself, it is the source of pragyaparat. The mistake of intellect only starts when the curving back to the self, that feedback loop is lost. That is the source of mistake of intellect.
So when you lose yourself, your big self, to the small boundaries, then pragyaparat starts. When you forget that you're unbounded self.
See, the nature of self is curving back to itself.
Okay. So when that
It's
self-referral is lost,
feedback.
then
That
Pragyaparat
feedback.
is started. Okay.
That feedback, losing that feedback is the source of mistake of intellect. Then you become object referral. What is self-referral? Curving back to the self. Everything is self. Then if you lose that curving back to the self, then that results into the object referral, not self-referral.
Right.
This house is mine. When object referral become, an individual will be dwelling in two concepts.
So
Mine, I and mine. This is me. This is mine. This me and my is the nature of object referral.
So you could say that object referral is thinking that a happiness is in this
Anything.
object, that object,
No,
that
simple,
object,
simple.
this sensual
Concepts.
pleasure, that sensual pleasure, money,
Yeah.
material.
No, not
wealth.
only that. That is all okay. But only I'm saying all this thing comes in essence, two words. Those two words, me and mine. Second one is mine.
Okay.
This is all my power. This is all my things. This is all my actions. All this, everything is me. Everything is mine. Me and mine. Aham.
So you're saying that it's the ego that's getting involved.
Object referral is ego.
Okay, so
Oh.
that's how you get lost and you
Small.
disease start.
Yeah. Everything rather than experiencing in the self, you're experiencing everything, yourself in the object. That means as soon as you see, this is mine, or this is me.
Right, right.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Aham and mama. These are the two words in Vedic literature explained. Very difficult and very disturbing and very destroying. Difficult, disturb and destroying. Aham and mama. I am. My name and form, not myself. This is all my name and form. And this is all mine. That's it. You lost.
So because you explained this, Dr. Manohar, I have 3 more questions. I hope it's okay. I want to do it. It's really quick to do. So the me and mine can create also narcissism. How do you heal that? It is very difficult to heal because if the ego, I mean, the human ego how do you do that? Again, transcending? Transcend.
Anything object referral is a deviation from the subjective. Simple. You don't need to think much. It's very simple. Why people dwell in the, you make $100 million and still that ego is rising. Okay, it's easy for me to make another $100 million because you think this is mine. And you think this is, I made this. And then second thing, this is mine. Then keep going, keep going, keep going. This I and mine, aham and mama, is the 3 Ds: destroyer, deviation, difficulty, and duality. All these Ds comes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Manohar. So to have a beautiful mind, it's good to meditate, of course. So come back to the self. So how is the mind connected to, so basically to have, encourage more Agni in the body, the Abhyanga, Shirodhara, and the inner animas are that are connected.
All those things, all those concepts, again, bringing the body to the self. That's it.
And what are your 2 the favorite spices and herbs to in
Anything. It's a many thing. It's not enough time.
Yeah. And
No.
what are the lifestyle that you suggest that people should have to have
All the, rasayanas for mind to be used, but, eating good food and taking some Brahmi, Shankapushpi, Jatamamsi, all these herbs will be beneficial. Good routine, everyday exercise, regular routine, and eating good food. All these things will help for health.
Dr. Manohar, that is good for food and lifestyle, but what do you say about people, the youth and the elders and the teachers? That is also those attitudes, those beautiful manners are also
As
good.
much as according to their age and season, and then as much as they can also, everyone, not only certain group, everyone's supposed to live life in accord with the laws of nature. That's the nature of health.
Beautiful. I think I have all my questions are answered, but if I have any more, I will text you. So how can people reach you, Dr. Manohar, if you are open for consults and all that? People can
Through you can contact. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Any further questions, people?
Yeah, Dr. Mana, I had a specific question because it was not clear to me, crystal clear. There's Amrit Kalash paste that has the sugar, and there's the sugar-free tablets. Which one exactly is better and why?
No, both are better. No, Maharishi Ayurveda bringing two products. I can't say this is better, that is not better. But depends on who is taking. If cancer patients are taking, but sugar is not a good thing for them. And non-cancer patients in all conditions, the paste is okay.
Right, but okay, assuming that you're healthy and the sugar is not a problem, isn't the one with the sugar a better transformer through your blood, or can you?
Both are okay. Both are okay. Both are okay. But depends on your digestion and depends on your body type. For kapha predominant people, they may not like sugar and ghee, and then, but depends on the state of balance and imbalance.
Okay.
They can choose which one.
So either is good. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Manohar.
Yes, Jai Gurudev.
Jai
Jai Gurudev.
Gurudev. Everybody, if you want to open up your video and say thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Manohar.
Thank
Jai
you, Dr.
Gurudev, Dr.
Manohar
Manohar
ji.
ji.
Jai
Yes.
It's always a
Gurudev.
blessing to listen to you.
Yes.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very
everybody.
much, Dr. Manohar ji.
Yes.
Jai Gurudev.
Very nice.
Thank
Very
you
nice.
so much. We're truly honored. Thank you so much. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.